Oh Lord, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Robbie Basel Show. I'm your host, Robbie Basel, on a gorgeous Monday. And yes, you guys are getting a Monday video for the first time in like 6 months. Because honestly, with how much stuff is going on today, I had to do this video today. I had to. It's like tradition at this point. If something insane is going on, hopefully this is all showing me. I have to do this. So here we are. Welcome back. And we're going to be starting off. Well, actually, before we tell you what's going to happen first, let's give you a rundown of what's happening today. The Euros just had one of its craziest weekends yet. We go through all of the matches. We'll also have the Copa America. And what happened with the United States? Were they able to pull out a win? What are my thoughts on this? We have a transfer, a major transfer, and a list of what else could be going on in the realm of transfers. That will be going on in a little bit. We also have an MLB update because I haven't talked about baseball in a minute, and my thoughts on Edwin Diaz from last night, as well as a recap of the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix. Also, next video, we'll hopefully be doing some Wimbledon predictions. And also tonight is Stanley Cup Finals Game 7. I'll break it down for you guys and what to watch out for in tonight's Game 7. There's also a World Cup qualifying draw on Thursday in Kuala Lumpur, so we'll be talking about that on Friday as well. Also with Wimbledon, and by the way, there's 2 more consecutive races of F1 in Austria and Great Britain, so don't worry. A lot more F1 stuff to come, Copa America, Euros, all that fun stuff. Let's begin with what just happened. So I'm recording this 5 minutes after the game today ended, and oh my God, I still can't believe it. Croatia played Italy in a match that, let me just give you what had to happen. At the time of the match, Italy were on 3 points. They needed to probably get a okay result. A draw or a win will put them through easily. A loss would put them a little bit dicey because of their not great goal difference. On top of that, you have Croatia. A Croatian team that with a win would put them through, a loss would send them out, and a draw would give them no help. A loss or a draw would have eliminated Croatia. Also in this group, Albania. They needed to beat Spain. Now, I'm just going to spoil the party for you. They did not beat Spain, and we'll talk about that game in a minute as well. Spain were already through, but this is what just happened. Italy played Croatia in a dramatic turn of events. This is how it ended. Croatia, who looked really bad in the first half. Italy dominated the first half. And essentially, Croatia got a penalty. There was a handball. Defender extended their arm. It came out and you saw it come back. Right call. I agree with the penalty decision. Luka Modric steps up to take it and misses. This is where the craziness comes. Next couple of plays, ball gets scurried around. Croatia gets it back. A good ball into the box. Another big save by Donnarumma. And Luka Modric is right there off the rebound to put the ball in the back of the net and cause absolute chaos. Croatia takes the lead by a 1-0 because they scored. They scored a goal. There you go. That's all they needed to do. They just needed to hold on. Ooh, Mia's just got some big transfer rumors. We'll talk about that in a minute. But back to this. Italy had to do something. And they do it on the last play of the game. By a player I can't even say. I'm going to try it. Sakangi? I tried. I'm not really great with the double C's. A banger in the 98th minute. A whip ball towards the top corner. Italy scored. And Italy, with this result, put themselves in second. And Croatia, because of only their 2 points, are eliminated. Probably. No, yes. Croatia are done. Because another group has multiple teams all 4 teams with 3 points. Croatia, who have been in a World Cup final and a World Cup semifinal in the last decade, are out. This is ridiculous. No one expected anything. And that led us to, the other match. I'll just put it straight up to you. Albania looked terrible. for the majority of this. They had some good chances as well, but Spain, Possession FC, just went out and beat them 1-0. We'll talk about the final standings for this group. We'll try to we'll talk about Hungary first. That group first. We'll talk about Sunday's games and then we'll go over the groups. Sunday. Here's what was on the line. We had Germany and Switzerland, who are already through. Switzerland would have won the group if they won. Germany would have won the group with a winner or draw. They got that result. Hungary, Scotland. Well, right when I did not get to watch the end of this, but I watched it back. There was a major injury. I don't even remember who it was to, but he had to go to the hospital, and he's all right, though, so everything's all good there. But Kevin Shoboth, in the 100th minute, with a game winner, a tournament-saving play for Hungary, the Hungarian national team, a team that I've hyped up for multiple weeks, gets their win. An incredible 1-0 result over Scotland to, 1, eliminate Scotland, but 2, keep themselves in it because they got a draw. Not a draw. They won a match. So now they're on 3 points. This is what Group A looks like. Germany, Switzerland, Hungary, and Scotland. I got at least I got 2 of these teams right. I got Switzerland and Hungary mixed around because I did not expect Switzerland to just go out and draw multiple games. I almost got the point total right for them though. I was 1 point away on both. I believe I had both of them on 4 points. But the intrigue is on because Group B ends like this. We'll talk about Group A, what's going to be going on in a moment. Look at Croatia. They're gone. A free third place spot has opened up to somebody that team very well could be Hungary. Hungary, because if this result, are still in it. Hungary would have probably been out if that game did not end the way it did, because Italy had the better goal difference, and they would have been through regardless. Unless Croatia scored again, then it would have gotten really weird because Italy did not score enough. Regardless, this is where we're at. Croatia are done, and all intrigue. Everything is still going on. So let's talk about the other matches. We'll go all the way back to the Thursday night. And last time we were here, we just talked about England-Denmark was the last game we talked about, and France-Netherlands was going on, and I have to talk about this. This game ended 0-0, and this is not even the right date. No, last time we were talking about this, we had Poland-Austria just finished. This was the game going on Friday. I forgot I recorded this video on a Friday. This was the game going on, and I have to address this. There was a decision right after the video ended. It's not even loading. We're not even able to show you the results. We'll just load it like this for now. Hopefully get that fixed in a moment for you guys. There was a decision where, let me see if I can find it. Netherlands disallowed goal. Because I'll try to give you all a visual if the Wi-Fi works. Maybe there's a video we can watch. I don't know. So Xavi Simons, essentially, I found a video. We're going to watch a video. We're not going to get copyrighted. Don't worry, we're not getting copyrighted. Fox is going to give us this video. We'll have no sound on it.
If you're taking a trip with
sharing because we have ads, we are not getting demonetized. So apologies if this delay is going on. Because I'm going to explain to you this decision, hopefully in a moment, because this ad is still going. Okay, here we go. This is the play I am talking about. 69th minute. So this is right after the video was finished for me. Let's watch it through. So this is the play. We're going to watch it through first.
From the Dutch.
Ball goes wide.
Taking the eye. Gakpo.
Dances around. It's saved. Second shot goes in. Now, it looks like a normal goal. It's a brilliant finish by Xavi Simons. Everyone's celebrating. Yada, yada, yada. Here we go. We're going to sim forward a little bit. There's Mbappe. You know, he's in shambles.
Expert, what do you
But
think,
then
Mark?
this is where it gets interesting. We're going to
Yeah,
stop
mate.
it right here. Everyone's wondering where the offsides came from. Let me break it down. So, play is going to roll forward. Here's your initial shot. That's fine. There's the second play. We're going to hold it right there. This is where it gets confusing. You're going to see that defender. I'll try to show you on my mouse. Hopefully you get to see this. Right there. Right next to the goalkeeper. And this ball, Mark Clattenburg actually didn't. I mean, I don't remember if he explained this very well. Here comes the shot again. Look where he is. Ball's going to go to the right. I'll try to show it again. Run at 15 seconds. There's Xavi Simons again. Everyone's confused. We'll show it one more time.
What do you think, Mark?
But remember, the laws of the game, me being a referee, I would know this. If there's another player impacting the play from an offsides position near a goalkeeper, I believe that's like kind of the way they word it. It's offsides. So essentially, this defender being in the way of Magnan and offsides by, like, I don't know, 5 yards. It's offsides, and the decision was correct. Everyone thinks it's controversial. I don't think it is. I know I explained this very poorly, but essentially, I'll word it like this. Essentially, because this player right here, the player in the orange next to the goalkeeper, Magnan, was where he was, since he was right next to Magnan and prevented Magnan from making a motion, like a move to make a save, and the ball went, and that's kind of how the ball went in the back of the net. The play was offsides, and I completely agreed with the decision by the referee. I know, like Anthony Taylor, it's all controversial because English refs suck, yada, yada, yada. The decision was right, and they've done it really, really well, and I don't have a problem with it. I think I know other people had a problem with it, but let's continue rolling with. But it's just the way it is, because Saturday lets you more craziness. We go from one crazy day to another. And it starts off with Georgia getting a draw against Czechia. A Georgian team that decided to actually play went out and drew Czechia 1-1. Mikatadze, I know the Georgian names are impossible. He scores a penalty. Patrick Schick gets an equalizer. That's the game, essentially. And it's a 1-1 draw, which puts Georgia in a very weird spot because they can, like, somehow make it and not make it at the same time. Turkey, who were scintillating after their early win against Georgia, went out and lost to Portugal 3-0. Now, I will say it like this. Turkey looked really bad. I'll say it. I'm the first one to say it. It's an expected result from a Portuguese team that looks really strong. They have a lot of things going right for them, and they're performing at the highest standard. Granted, they looked not as good against Czechia, a team that I have no faith in. They go up against the second-best team in the group and win 3-0. Nothing makes any sense. 3-0. Sure. It's not even like that crazy of a result. By the way, this sends Portugal through to the next round. Good for them. They deserve to be through. Because, listen, Georgia, Czechia, and Turkey are going to battle it out, and we'll talk about it in a moment. What will happen on Wednesday? And then we ended the day with a very predictable result. Belgium decided to finally play. Lukaku had another goal disallowed. And Belgium beat Romania 2-0. 2-0. 2-0 win for Belgium. Pretty standard. This puts Belgium in a place of control. Or you would think. Let's go over the groups now of where we are. So all the way down here, Group E. We'll start with Group E, where everyone is on 3 points because no one wants to draw a match. So all four of these teams, Romania, Belgium, Slovakia, Ukraine, can all make it and not make it to the next round at the same time. Romania probably has the easiest path. I believe they play Slovakia next because they went out, they lost to Belgium, they beat Ukraine, they play Slovakia, which is like the easiest team in this group. Belgium, after their humiliating loss to the aforementioned Slovakians, and then they beat Romania. They play Ukraine, who are having the momentum coming off of beating Slovakia. It's very confusing, I know. The teams to watch out for in this match day. The headline is going to be, how is Belgium going to look? Because Belgium are the highest ranked team in this group. They're third in the world. Should they be third in the world? I don't think so. But regardless, they're third in the world. They looked better against Romania. They dominated possession against Romania. They did everything right. They looked really strong at times against Slovakia, but they let a goal in against Slovakia. And now they are where they are. They're playing against a strong Ukraine team who, after their dumb mistakes against Romania, tightened it up and beat Slovakia. I'm interested to see how Ukraine-Belgium looks. I think Romania is going to beat Slovakia and Belgium and Ukraine draw each other. Because it just makes too much sense for a team like Ukraine, for as good as they are, to draw this match. It makes too much sense. Because this Ukraine team, a lot of people don't remember this, they're much better than some people are making them out to be. Same with Romania. Romania qualified and barely conceded. They have a positive goal difference through 2 matches. I don't think anyone expected them to even be in the conversation. Yet here they are. I'm watching out for Romania. I like them beating Slovakia. I like Ukraine and Belgium drawing each other. I know this is nowhere near my actual prediction, but based on the way this tournament is gone, predictions can kind of change. We'll go over my whole group stage predictions when the knockouts start on Friday for the Friday video. Group F, whatever group this is, Group F, looks like this. Turkey, after their win in their opener against Georgia, then lost to Portugal. They finished off with Czechia, who drew Georgia after losing to Portugal after blowing it against the Portuguese. The Portuguese, who are through, they'll probably rotate because they are playing Georgia. If Georgia somehow win this, that will be ridiculous because that will be their first ever win in a major tournament ever, along with their first ever knockouts appearance in their first ever international tournament, which would be awesome. They've looked okay. They haven't looked great, that Georgian team. Czechia, who I think are in trouble, they have to beat Turkey, which I just don't see happening. I think a draw is possible, but I just don't see it. I think Turkey is going to beat Czechia and Georgia is going to lose to Portugal, which would free up the 3rd place spot for Hungary. So, and on top of that, it would free up the 3rd place spot in Group E. So essentially, if you lose, it's not over for you unless you allow 70 goals. Because if you look at this group again, we'll go back to them for a minute. The only team that will be worrying about goal difference right now is Ukraine, unless they win. So that's where the next 3rd place spot can be. But this group, also interesting, but I like Portugal and Turkey getting a result on Wednesday. Back to the other groups. So Group A and B are done. Group C and D conclude tomorrow. What is on the line? Let's go back to Group C again. England, who have been terrible after their lovely draw in their last match to Denmark, after barely beating Serbia, they face Slovenia, a Slovenian team that can't hold a lead. Advantage England. On top of this, there will be, how do I word this? I mean, if you really think about it, Croatia's terrible goal difference is going to knock them out, but if their goal difference is any better, they would still have a chance. Because if you really think about it, if Denmark wins and England win, and there's a winner in both of the Portugal and Turkey games, Croatia would have had a chance, but no, because they got beaten up in their opening match by Spain is why we are here we are. Upsets I like. Slovenia, England's very interesting. The England team is better, no doubt. They have a lot of players you would know, and that makes sense that England should beat Slovenia. But we've said that about Serbia. We said that about Denmark. And yet they haven't looked that convincing. So I do like England narrowly over Slovenia solely because they can't defend. They've been really disappointing in defense. I mean, if you remember from last time, Slovenia conceded a very late goal to Serbia. A goal, if that didn't go in, may have actually, no, yes, it would have. It would have put Slovenia through already. That's how marginally close this tournament is going to end up being. Even the Slovenia draw would put them through, which is why I have England drawing Slovenia. I have this game ending as a 1-1. I think Slovenia do grab a goal. I think this game will end in a draw. I also have Denmark beating Serbia, which would end the group the way it is. But actually, no. Yes, it would, because if Denmark win by multiple goals, they might actually jump England, which would be absolutely ridiculous. A draw with everybody would make this even more weird. But because Slovenia and Denmark or whatever, we are where we are. So this group is going to be confusing, but I like the group pretty much staying where it is. I think Denmark, if they win and England draw, they would flip, but depending on goals for and against, that is why we are where we are. Oh, if it's both the games, actually no, yeah, if Denmark win, they might be able to jump England depending on how many goals they score. Sorry for this is getting confusing. Group D, everyone's through already. Austria are gonna be through unless they lose by 7. Austria, who have beaten Poland and lost to France, they played the Netherlands, which is kind of concerning. France and the injured Ninja Turtle, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they play Poland, which will be fun. I have France winning and Netherlands, Austria probably ending in a draw. The Austrians have been really resilient against good teams, and then finally decided to play against Poland. They knocked out Poland. Austria, if this game ends in a draw or not a multiple goal loss for Austria, will put them through over Hungary, which would make this even more confusing. But yet here we are. I like Netherlands for I like the top 3 all advancing. I had that, I believe, in the predictions. No, I don't know if I had all 3 advancing in the predictions. Let me look. I didn't have Austria through. That's wild that I didn't have Austria through. Oh, no, yes, I did. I had Austria through on 4 points. I also had Netherlands finishing 3rd. That prediction does not look very good, but I know I'm taking a long time on this. France, I have them winning, and I have Netherlands, Austria probably drawing each other. And we already talked about the rest of the groups. This tournament's been awesome. But let's go to another tournament. Actually, no, before we go to that other tournament, we have some European breaking news I just received. And it starts with Arsenal. So, we have one confirmed major transfer. We'll talk about him in a minute. But there is a rumor with Arsenal, and that is with Joshua Kimmich. Arsenal are in currently for Joshua Kimmich following reports of an agreement already. So here's what the reports say. Arsenal are looking to bring in Joshua Kimmich in the summer as Mikel Arteta likes to add some experience. He's very versatile. Big-time superstar from the German national team. He would be an incredible add, but he did have a very difficult season at Bayern, which may have dropped his value a little bit. Kimmich, an experienced player in the midfield, can finish, he can pass really well, he can move off the ball really well, which would really add into a good combination with Odegaard and Rice, which would push Havertz possibly up top or as a super sub. This would be an incredible add. And with even more versatility, because Kimmich has played at right back before, this would be an incredible add. But I just don't know if this move actually happens. We'll see. But this would be an incredible ad. The 29-year-old would be a phenomenal ad to Arsenal. The HITC have claimed that Arsenal, who are well in the mix, they are going to have an agreement for him. So this would be very interesting if the deal goes through and deal is agreed to. Because Bayern already have their first major signing. And he is coming from Crystal Palace. And that, my friends, is Michael Olise. Bayern met the 45 million euro release clause for Olise. Big-time winger, can really move off the ball well. Great finisher of the ball, good passer, great on the ball as well. He does a lot of things right. He just played on a terrible team for a long time. But Crystal Palace have learned their lesson, and they're able to cash in on some of the value that they could have gotten ages ago with players like Wilfried Zaha. They get better equivalent of Zaha, like a better player or better version, of Zaha. And they have him, and now he's gone. And Michael Olise, which could open up the likely departure of Eberechi Eze later on. But Olise is going to Bayern. He'll probably fit out well off the left or the right. I think he can play both. I think he would be really strong on both wings. Big time ad from Bayern, who needed a winger, a young, experienced winger. And they get that with Michael Olise. I'm very happy that Bayern were able to make the move. But, man, the big ad, the rumor right now is Kimmich. And I'll be able to hopefully talk about this more on the next time we do a video. We'll continue into CONCACAF. And, well, my friends, here is where we are. CONCACAF's, well, it's not even a CONCACAF tournament, isn't it? The Copa America, hosted by CONMEBOL. I'll say it right for once. Don't worry. I'll say it right. Has been, well, interesting. And we'll start us off with Group A, because Group A had both of their first matches. We'll recap what happened from the last time. In the group stage, we'll bring up the Wikipedia page for this time because nothing else wants to work. We started off with Argentina, who we talked about last time, having them beat Canada. Peru then played Chile. That game sucked. I mean, yes, the two countries hate each other. That's a very popular theme. But Peru and Chile had about 40-something fouls. Nothing really happened. Game ended 0-0. Peru next gets to play Canada next in Kansas City, which would open the door for Peru to actually make up some ground. Chile plays Argentina in a match that Argentina is definitely winning. That game is in East Rutherford, New Jersey. No, I am not going to this. It's tomorrow. I have work. And it's at 9 o'clock at night. I'm not doing that, unfortunately. The big question will be for the South Americans not named Argentina. Canada has a door open now because of Peru and Chile drawing each other. If someone won, it would be a very tall window or tall hill to climb for Canada. Now they don't really have that. They're playing, I believe, the worst team in the group in Peru. I think they beat Peru, which would really open the door for them to have to go out and probably beat Chile in Orlando to put themselves through. Possibly. We don't know yet. I think even a draw would be good enough against Chile because I have Argentina beating Chile. It's all kicking up, and it's very exciting, but that's where we are right now in Group A. Group B had the flair for the dramatic, and we started it off with Ecuador against Venezuela, which opened it up with a Eder Valencia red card in the first half. So Ecuador goes down a man. Ecuador then scores. So 10-man Ecuador lead Venezuela going into the second half. And this is where the game really kicked up. Venezuela decided to dominate possession in the second half. They looked much better than Ecuador. Then Cadiz scores, and then Bello scores 10 minutes later. A massive win for Venezuela as they now go top of the group on goals for. Crushing result for Ecuador, but I think they're going to bounce back really well. Ecuador next gets to play Jamaica, which they actually looked better than I thought they were going to. They played Mexico. Jamaica's had their own problems recently with like Leon Bailey or whatever. They played Mexico. Jamaica scored, but it got disallowed. So then Mexico comes back, and Mexico scores. Mexico grabs their goal. Arteaga scores in the 69th minute. This was from Saturday night. And on a Saturday night in Houston, Mexico gets their result and goes to second in the group, of course, behind goals for. They play in a top-of-the-table clash with Venezuela, which should be all to play for at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. It's going to be fun. And that game, I think, we'll be able to tell a lot about both of these teams, especially Mexico, because they did not look as good as I thought they were going to. I have a lot of questions for them because they could have had, I think, 6 goals, but the lack of finishing, the lack of the play in the final third, the lack of this and the lack of that, with the new players they have and the changing of the guard, it feels like Mexico just don't look as strong as the Venezuelas, the Ecuadors in this group. but they went out and got their result that they needed. A result that could kickstart their possible run towards the top of the group. I like them probably drawing Venezuela now, because Venezuela, we don't know how they're going to look again. Mexico is going to have, of course, the semi-home field advantage. It's in California. Who knows who's going to be? I mean, the crowds, the majority of these have been awesome. The Mexico crowd was great in Houston. The Uruguay crowd was awesome in Miami last night. We'll talk about that game in a minute as well. But, man, what a good start for Mexico, Venezuela. Ecuador got unlucky, but they get to play Jamaica next. So they have a chance to go out there and make some noise. Group C, we have the United States going out and beating Bolivia 2-0. Pulisic had a banger within the first 3 minutes, and then Balogun knocked in a second. United States 2, Bolivia 0. Thoughts on this game? I won't talk about this game that much. I'm disappointed in the United States because Bolivia looked way worse than I thought they were going to be for this. They just looked unprepared. Bolivia didn't want to push up the field that much. They did multiple crucial errors in the back. They just did not look as good as I thought they would be. And the United States had 27 chances, it felt like, throughout this entire match. You have Ricardo Pepi, who I think could have had multiple goals in the second half. He came on for Balogun. Pulisic, I think he could have maybe had another goal or two, but that's just nitpicking. I think Pulisic was the best player on the field. It showed. He was man of the match. He did all the things right. Questions for me, Tyler Adams looked okay. I think a lot of people are overrating his performance a little bit. He only played 45 minutes due to fitness concerns. Weston McKennie was meh. I mean, I love West, but he's just struggling a little bit. Yunus Musa came on, actually, and I really liked what he was able to bring to the field. He replaced the aforementioned Tyler Adams. Defense looked strong. I'm really missing Serginho Dest out there at right back, but Joe Scally actually played a really solid match. I was actually very happy with Joe Scally last night. So the United States, I can't forget about Fairfield, Connecticut native Matt Turner. He was strong as well. It was a full team win. The United States could have scored like 5 or 6. Bolivia had a chance or two, but it was really overshadowed by how much better the United States looked. Uruguay then played Panama in a match that Uruguay dominated for like 95% of this. We start off with Marcus Araujo, who scored the opener, a banger goal as well. Darwin Nunez gets the second, and then Viñas gets the third. Panama get a consolation goal. We'll see how impactful that is because of goal difference. It sends Panama to third. Uruguay leads the group on goals for. Panama are third because of also goals for. United States are in second with Bolivia in fourth. Kind of what you would have expected the group to finish for the majority, other than Bolivia not looking that terrible. This group could really change because Panama is playing the United States. Panama, when they've played in the United States, have struggled for the most part. But Panama's had the United States number. I believe Panama beat the United States in the Gold Cup last year. Something to watch out for. And Uruguay is playing Bolivia, a match that we've seen this go Bolivia's way before, by the way. Bolivia beat Uruguay 3-0 in a World Cup qualifying match like 2 years ago. But Bolivia really have not been that competitive. I like Uruguay winning that match, and I do like that other match on top. I see the United States winning. I see that game being a draw. I don't know. For me personally, I'm just not that confident really ever in the United States men's national team because they always find a way to disappoint. Nonetheless, I think they will beat Panama. I'll be less pessimistic, and I think they beat Panama. I'll say 2-1 the score, and I think your Uruguay beats Bolivia 3-0. So there's your score prediction, which would set up a top-of-the-table clash in a game that would not matter whatsoever on July 1st. And then Group D kicks off tonight. We have Colombia playing Paraguay right when this video goes live. I'm intrigued to see how that game goes. And we have Brazil and Costa Rica, which I think is going to be a total blowout. I like that Brazil team. I think they're going to bounce back after that draw against the United States a couple weeks ago. Other games to watch out in this group. July 2nd is going to be a banger. I love Brazil against Colombia. That game's going to be fun. I think Paraguay can maybe make some noise against Brazil, but I love Colombia's path. They open with Paraguay. I think if Colombia win, they're going to be flying off the jump. If Costa Rica can make some noise against Brazil, this group would kick up so much noise. Because Costa Rica, who are the worst team in this group, getting a possible result against Brazil would really change this group. So, Yes, we're finally halfway there for this video. I know we're flying. We weren't flying as much through some of the topics already, but we actually have some of the topics already done. It is now time to preview. I know I said in the beginning of the video, it is time for the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 7 is here. And here is what happened in Game 6. I talked about Game 6 where I liked Edmonton winning, and Edmonton dominated and won 5-1. That was on Friday. Here we are for Game 7. We finally made it. It's going to be crazy. I like what both teams have offered. I said I liked Florida to win. I'm still backing Florida to win this. I just don't see them losing. But they need some big names to step up. They have Kachuk. They need guys like Carter Verhaeghe to step up. There's more pieces that have just really disappointed. That Florida needs to step up. Bobrovsky in net as well. They need players like them to step up in order to really have a chance to do anything in this, honestly. Because Edmonton, in their last 3 games, have outscored Florida. You ready for this, chat? 16-5. Plus 11 goal difference for Edmonton. Yes, I know it's 18. I can do math. Is it? No, 18. Yeah, I thought it said 3-1. It was 5-1. It's 18. God damn it. It's 18-5. So plus 13 goal difference for Edmonton. Yes, I can count. Do not question it. But I do have Florida winning this 3-2 tonight. Listen, Florida is not blowing it. I don't see them full-on blowing it. I see the game being close. It's going to be down to the wire. It's going to be back and forth all the way. I like Florida winning. But my God, this series has been so much freaking better than the NBA Finals. I called it in the beginning. I said the series is going to be good. But my God, I did not expect this. And to be fair, I don't think anyone did. But that's such a watch for tonight. Florida against Edmonton. It's going to be a doozy. It'll be on the edge of your seats probably for the majority of this game. Quick notes on Major League Baseball. Yes, chat. We are talking Major League Baseball for the first time in multiple weeks. Here we are. In the regular season standings, the American League East first, the New York Yankees have continued to play baseball, and they've looked good doing it. Baltimore sits in second. They've been really strong lately as well. On top of this, we have Boston, who've been really solid. I'm very happy with what Boston's doing so far. There are 9 games out of it, but we don't talk about that. Baltimore's also 7.5 up on the wild card. I believe Boston's in a wild card spot right now. Baltimore has dropped 3 in a row and has lost 6 of 10. Yankees have been sliding. They've lost 7 of 10. And Boston's been able to take advantage. They've won 8 of 10, including winning back-to-back games to really make some ground. They've played really solid baseball lately. They've been led by players like Rafael Devers and Jarren Duran and a couple other names as well. Pitching's been better. They've made some progress, and they're doing really solid so far. Tampa Bay, we didn't really have much faith in them. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries. No McClanahan. They've been plagued with other concerns as well. They're in 4th, and Toronto, very disappointing in them. They just have not looked like themselves. 15.5 out. What are they going to do move-wise at the deadline? We don't know, but it'll be something to watch out for in the future. AL Central, the disappointment of the Twins continues. My curse on the AL Central reigns supreme. The surprise here is the Royals, who are still in this. They're in 3rd. You ready for this, chat? They're a half game out of the wild card. Well done, Kansas City. They've done some things right. While they have lost 7 of their last 10, and they've lost 3 in a row, they're still in the race. I did not expect that to say through, 79 games that the Kansas City Royals would be in this position. I'm very shocked by them. Twins, they've been better. They've won 7 of 10. I think they're red hot right now. The Guardians are also in the mix. They're in first place, 7.5 games up on the Minnesota Twins. They've looked solid as well. They've won 6 of 10. They get Baltimore next, which should be really fun. The Tigers, who've been really disappointing this season, only a -6 run differential, though, so they're not looking that terrible. It's just their home and away splits are really bad, and they also can't beat a team above 500. And the White Sox, less said about them, the better. To the AL West we go, and Oakland has finally decided to be in the bottom of the division, though the Los Angeles Angels are equally sucking as much, so they can join them. They actually play each other, so that should be a fun series. But the Seattle Mariners have jumped to the top of this division, led by the incredible starting pitching. The offense is really coming full circle. They're playing really well. The Texas Rangers are the big shock. They're in third, where I believe I had the Mariners at this point in the season. But my God, the Houston Astros have also turned up to play. But the Rangers need to step up. They've only won 5 of their last 10. They're only 4.5 out of the wild card. But my God, they have to do something. Because this team should not be this bad. I know they're having injury problems, but Adolis Garcia has been great. The pitching's been meh. They just can't beat a team over 500. They're 11-16. But the Astros are no better because they're 13-22. It's like ridiculous of how bad some of these teams are against teams over 500. You can say the same with Seattle. They're 14-19. No one wants to be a team over 500 in this division. It's like crazy. NL East we go, and the Philadelphia Phillies, what a season they're having, 51-26. They are 7 games up on the Atlanta Braves. They've looked really solid. They've had a great pitching duo, led by Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. Bryce Harper is just Bryce Harper, and other pieces have been emerging as well. Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm's having a good season as well. The big concern for me is the pitching on the road, particularly with Zach Wheeler, because he's like a sub-2 ERA at home, but on the road he's been terrible, which things to watch out for in the future. Atlanta, after losing Ronald Acuna, they have not been themselves. I will say that up front. They do get a chance to bounce back. They're playing St. Louis, who have not been as good. Philadelphia, though, gets to do the same. They're playing the Tigers. Should be fun. Washington, the surprise in third. When they lost Josiah Gray, I did not realize how bad Josiah Gray was going to be before he got injured, but there have been really their pitching has stepped up with players like Miller and I forgot his name, Jake Irvin. He has been great as well as of late. So they've had some pitching step up. The offense has been better, and they're in third because of it. The New York Mets, we'll talk about them in a minute. We're going to save all the Mets talk for the end of this segment. And we have the Miami Marlins, who have been bad. And that's all I'm going to say. Injuries and underperformance have set them where they are. Now we go to the NL Central, where the Pittsburgh Pirates have been on fire, or you would think, because they've only won 5 of their last 10. Milwaukee's atop, no shocker there. Well, kind of shocker there. 5 games up on the St. Louis Cardinals, who are somehow competitive with a worse team than last year. Does it make sense? Absolutely not. Pittsburgh is in third. Chicago, who are in 4th place despite only being 8 games out of it. And Cincinnati, who've been really disappointing. The weird thing for them is that the Reds' pitching has been good. Their offense has been meh. They have a +9 run difference. And their expected win-loss is 40-37. So they're supposed to be in freaking second, yet they're in 5th. Does it make sense? Absolutely not. They play a very crucial series against the Pittsburgh Pirates this week, which that one should be extremely fun to watch out for. The Chicago Cubs, who have, under Craig Counsell, have not been as good as we thought they would be through 78 games. They are 37-41. They've had holes essentially everywhere at this point. And their bullpen looks like the New York Mets from a couple of years ago. They can't hold the lead. They can't do anything. At this rate, they always lose by like 1 run. It's actually kind of hilarious. And they had a moment in the game last night with the New York Mets, which we'll talk about in a moment. Out west, the Rockies still suck. The Dodgers are on top. The Diamondbacks and the Giants are just fiddling around each other because the Giants want to do nothing. They have lost 7 of 10, including 5 in a row, and now have a chance to bounce back. They're playing the Cubs, which I have no faith for them in. Disappointments among the board for the Giants. I had too much faith in them in the beginning of the year. The Diamondbacks have bounced back a little bit. They've won 6 of 10, but they have not been as good. The surprise here is the Padres, who sold, yet are somehow better with the sales. They traded Juan Soto, and they got better. Sure. But back to the Mets. We'll stop sharing the screen. We'll go full circle for a minute again. There was a moment last night. Do we have an article on this? With Edwin Diaz last night, chat. And we may have a word on Edwin Diaz. So Edwin Diaz came into the game last night in Wrigley Field. Craig Counsell sent out the umpires. They checked them for sticky stuff, as they usually do for every other player. And for some reason, Edwin Diaz's right hand was not the same as it usually was. Or so they say. And he was thrown out. No questions asked. He didn't argue. He didn't do anything at all. Just walked off the mound. He said, yeah, thank you very much. I'm going home. I don't even know what the hell was going on. I saw it live. I saw the replay of it. I'm like, what the hell was that? I don't know what's going on. At this rate, it just doesn't make sense. By the way, it's the third Mets pitcher to be suspended for get the automatic suspension for sticky stuff. Is that a Mets problem? Is that like a league problem? I don't even know. Because we had Max Scherzer, Drew Smith, and now the Mets have Edwin Diaz. Here's my problem with this rule. We've seen players in the past, particularly the other team, the New York Yankees, and I believe other teams, this is what I have heard, I have the chance for the player to wash their hands and come back. I think the automatic rejection has to be the play, or it has to be one or the other. And I know it's objective, I know it's this, and I know it's that. Kind of like soccer in a little bit, where some calls are subjective, but the law states that it has to be something. Baseball, it should be more distinctive for something this severe. Because if you're cheating, you should be automatically thrown out. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. I don't disagree I don't think it's wrong that they ejected Diaz if they saw something unfamiliar. I'm not against ejecting him for something like that, but he said it was like the normal stuff he uses. So I don't know the full thing on it. We'll probably find out something about it soon. But that's the latest news on it. The Mets won, but Edwin Diaz is going to likely get the automatic 10-game suspension. We'll finish it off with Formula One, where we had a very interesting race. Max Verstappen won as per usual. We were in Spain this week, and essentially nothing happened. Well, not really. Lando was on pole. He immediately blew it. He was kicking himself for it because his start was completely terrible. Max Verstappen, who started in second, was in second after the first corner because George Russell, who started in fourth, went around the outside of both Lando Norris and Max Verstappen to take the lead after turn one. 2 laps later, George Russell gets overtaken by Max. Hamilton eventually goes to third, and Lando, who stayed out too long on his first set of tires, gets penalized for it because he finished in second. Only 2 seconds behind Max, though, so the Red Bull car not looking as dominant as people would make it seem to be, at least. But Max wins, Lando's second, and for another year in a row, Lewis Hamilton is on the podium. Nothing's changed. Listen, he deserved the podium. That drive for the Mercedes cars, they've looked bad, but they've gotten better. Could they be the McLaren of this year? Where they start terribly and come back and do well? Are they the McLaren of this year, Chad? I think that Pan's agreeing with me. I think they're saying, hell yeah, Mercedes are going to be the surprise this year. Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz finished 5th and 6th, right where they were at the start of the race. Piastri finished 7th. He had a tough drive. Perez moved up into 8th. Double Alpine points finish, which is actually really cool for them. I did call that. Possible double Alpine points finishes. Logan Sargent was bottom. Tsunoda, Albon, Magnussen, Bottas, Danny Rick, Stroll, Zhou, Fernando, and Hulkenberg were the rest of the drivers in the grid. We did get some possible news. This is where it gets interesting again. Now, Carlos Sainz is in a very interesting situation. He's been dropped by Ferrari for next year. He's been rumored with Williams for multiple weeks now. But it may have seemed like Alpine could possibly be in the mix for Carlos Sainz, which would be very interesting to pair him with Pierre, the former Red Bull Junior drivers, back at it again, I guess. I mean, that works. At this rate, I think Carlos should just be going for a seat, because at this rate, he might be driving the safety car at the start of next season. Other rumors, there was a rumor of Logan Sargent possibly having a seat in another driving circuit for next year. Some rumors had it as IndyCar, but we don't know anything further on that yet. And that's all the driver news. And that is all the news I have for you guys today. We'll give you more breakdowns of the draws for Wimbledon, Euros, Copa America, all that stuff. And we'll break down the draw from the World Cup qualifying in Asia next time, because the draw is on Thursday. So, for now, I'm the Robbie Basel saying so long. Oh, by the way, other sporting events this week. College World Series Game 3 is tonight NBA draft is Wednesday. I might do a recap on that and what teams to watch out for and who won the draft. But we'll see. Make sure to tune in to Friday to see what I talk about. But for now, I'm Robbie Basel, officially saying goodnight. So long. See you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.